Are you one of those people who get up once, twice, sometimes 3 times a night to go to the bathroom? Then stay tuned until the end, because what you're about to discover could literally transform your sleep and your health. I'm Dr. Hillman, and today I'm going to explain something that many people don't know. No, getting up several times a night to urinate is not an inevitable part of aging. It's a warning signal that your body is sending you. The medical term is nocturia, and believe me, this seemingly minor problem has much deeper consequences than you might think. Every time you wake up, your brain is abruptly pulled out of deep sleep, that precious phase where your body regenerates, produces its growth hormones, and cleanses your brain of toxins accumulated during the day. The result? Your metabolism becomes unbalanced, your energy decreases, and your memory becomes weaker. A Japanese study conducted on more than 1,200 people over 60 years old showed that those who got up 2 or more times a night had a 40% increased risk of chronic fatigue, cognitive impairment, and daytime sleepiness. But that's not all. These nighttime awakenings also increase the risk of falls, particularly in seniors. And a simple fall can turn a life upside down. Fracture, loss of independence, hospitalization, all because of a disrupted biological cycle. So, why does this happen? When we are young, our brain produces a protective hormone called vasopressin. It acts like a brake. At night, it reduces urine production to allow your bladder to last until morning. But with age, the natural production of this hormone decreases. The kidneys, therefore, continue to produce urine as if it were daytime, and your bladder, less elastic, fills up faster. The result? You wake up, again and again. And the more you wake up, the more your deep sleep deteriorates. Add to that another phenomenon: water retention during the day. When you sit or stand for a long time, fluids accumulate in your legs. Have you noticed those slightly swollen ankles? It's not just fatigue, it's stagnant water. At night, when you lie down, this water returns to the bloodstream, passes through the kidneys, and ends up in your bladder. And there you are again, wide awake at 3 in the morning. Another common mistake: unbalanced hydration. Many people drink almost nothing during the day, then try to catch up in the evening. But what your body hasn't eliminated before going to sleep, it will eliminate during the night. The good news? There's a simple, natural, drug-free method to restore your rhythm. A strategy that helps your body rediscover the continuous sleep it needs. And that's exactly what I'm going to explain to you now. How to adjust your hydration, your diet, and your evening habits to say goodbye to nocturia and wake up every morning with real energy. But first, let's look at the most common mistakes that many people make without realizing it. Some are so simple that you wouldn't imagine they could disrupt our sleep. The first mistake is not drinking enough water during the day. Yes, you heard that right. The less you drink, the more concentrated and acidic your urine becomes. It irritates the bladder wall, which contracts even when it's not full. Result: frequent urge to urinate, especially at night. A Swedish study of over 900 adults showed that people who drank less than 1.5 liters of water a day had a 30% higher risk of nocturnal nocturia. Paradoxically, drinking more regularly during the day leads to better sleep at night. Second mistake: thinking you have a small bladder. In most cases, it's not a question of size, but of excessive urine production during the night. And that's often linked to your habits, your diet, your hormonal rhythm, your caffeine or alcohol consumption. Third mistake: precisely, caffeine and alcohol in the evening. These two sabotage your sleep. Alcohol blocks the action of the anti-diuretic hormone, ADH. Your body, therefore, produces more urine. And caffeine, even in a simple hot chocolate, remains active for up to 6 hours after ingestion. You may fall asleep, but your brain doesn't rest. Another mistake: drinking too much right before going to sleep. This liquid follows a long journey before reaching the bladder, about 2 hours. That's why I call this the sacred 2-hour zone. In the 2 hours before bedtime, Avoid all drinks. 1 or 2 sips if you're thirsty, no more. And finally, a major, discreet culprit: salt. The more sodium you consume, the more water your body retains, which it will then have to eliminate at night. Reducing salt also reduces nighttime awakenings. But not everything is. It's not just about what you drink or eat. It's also about what you do before going to bed. And that's where a very simple, yet incredibly effective strategy comes in, one that few people know about. Now, I'm going to show you how to adjust your evening routine so that your body naturally eliminates excess fluid before bedtime, and how a very simple action, which you can do every evening at home, can already improve your sleep this week. So let's see now how to take concrete action, simply and without medication. Because it's not about fighting against your body, but about gently retraining it to find its natural rhythm again. You'll see. It all starts with small actions, but their impact is immense. The first pillar is intelligent hydration. Drinking water. Yes, but not just any time. The majority of your water intake should be before 4 p.m. Ideally, 70 to 80% of your daily fluid intake in the first part of the day. Why? Because your body will then have plenty of time to eliminate the excess before nightfall. This way, your bladder won't be full during your sleep. Start as soon as you wake up. Drink a large glass of water. Your body has gone 7 to 8 hours without hydration. It needs this signal to restart circulation and metabolism. Then, always keep a bottle within reach and drink regularly in small sips. No need to force yourself. The secret is consistency. Never let thirst set in, because once it appears, your body is already dehydrated. After 4 p.m., gradually slow down. Drink more slowly, in smaller quantities, and above all, observe the sacred 2-hour zone before bedtime. No drinks. If you're very thirsty, a single sip is enough. And just before going to bed, an essential step: completely empty your bladder. It may seem insignificant, but this little habit prevents urine from accumulating during your first sleep cycle, the one that should be the deepest. The second pillar is managing salt and irritating foods. Remember, sodium attracts water. The more salt you consume, the more fluids your body retains, which it will then have to eliminate at night. Reduce added salt, avoid processed foods, cured meats, overly salty cheeses, and prepared soups. And be careful with strong spices. Pepper, chili, mustard, and hot sauces irritate the bladder, wall, and trigger the urge to urinate. Third pillar: posture before bedtime. This is where science meets simplicity. During the day, gravity pulls fluids down to the lower part of the body. Result: heavy legs, swollen ankles. When you lie down, all that fluid goes back up to the kidneys and ends up in the bladder. But you can anticipate this. Get comfortable about 30 minutes before going to sleep. Lie down on your sofa, place 1 or 2 cushions under your legs, or rest them on a chair. This promotes venous and lymphatic return. You reduce swelling in your legs, and your body naturally eliminates excess water before you go to bed. Result: less urine produced during the night, deeper sleep. Finally, the fourth pillar: regularity. Your body is a machine of rhythms. It likes predictability. Try to go to bed and wake up at fixed times, even on weekends. Little by little, your biological clock synchronizes all the hormones, including the famous vasopressin, the hormone that reduces urine production during the night. And that's how your body relearns to sleep through the night. Several of my patients have told me that after applying these 4 principles for just 10 days, they had already noticed the difference. Fewer nighttime urges, entire nights without waking up, and above all, a morning energy they hadn't felt in years. And you know what? These aren't miracles. It's simply your body returning to its natural balance. But there's one last aspect that's rarely discussed. A much deeper aspect. Because nocturia isn't just about the bladder or kidneys. It's sometimes a sign of a hidden imbalance that your body is trying to tell you about. And that's exactly what we're going to explore now. The signals that nocturia can send you about your heart, your metabolism, or even your brain. You'll see. What I'm about to reveal could allow you to detect problems much earlier than you imagine. You know, many people think that nocturia, the need to get up several times a night to urinate, is just a minor inconvenience associated with age. But in reality, it's often a profound message that your body is trying to send you. A warning sign, sometimes silent, but indicative of a broader imbalance. And understanding this message is often the first step in preventing complications, serious issues. Let's start with the most common: sugar. Yes, one of the first signs of a glycemic imbalance is nocturia. When the glucose level in your blood becomes too high, your body tries to get rid of this excess through urine. This phenomenon is called glycosuria, and to eliminate the sugar, the kidneys have to filter more water. Result: you urinate more, even at night. Often, this is the first symptom of undiagnosed type 2 diabetes. Researchers at the University of Sydney observed this link in more than 2,000 adults. Those who got up 2 or more times a night to urinate had a 50% higher risk of having a glucose metabolism disorder. So, if nocturia becomes a problem, especially if you also experience intense thirst or unusual fatigue, it's important to talk to your doctor. But blood sugar isn't the only factor. The heart also plays a crucial role. When cardiac function weakens even slightly, the body tends to retain water during the day, often in the legs and ankles. At night, when you lie down, all this fluid returns to the circulation. The kidneys filter it and wake you up. It is, in fact, one of the early signs of mild heart failure, and few people know this information. In an Australian study of 2,300 patients, 1/3 of people suffering from unexplained chronic nocturia had an underlying cardiovascular disorder. 1/3. In other words, your bladder can be the silent spokesperson for your heart. And then there are hormonal imbalances. In women, menopause reduces estrogen levels, which weakens the bladder tissues and disrupts the secretion of antidiuretic hormones. In men, it's often benign prostatic hyperplasia, a natural increase in the size of the prostate that compresses the urethra and causes these nighttime awakenings. And in both cases, the result is the same: fragmented sleep, low energy, and dwindling vitality. But there's also a factor that's often overlooked: medication. Certain treatments, particularly diuretics prescribed for hypertension or edema, can increase nighttime urine production if taken too late in the day. The solution is simple: talk to your doctor to adjust the timing of your medication. What I want you to understand is that nocturia is never insignificant. It's sometimes a small red light on your internal dashboard. And the sooner you understand the cause, the sooner you can rebalance your body before it gets worse. But the good news is that you already have a lot of power over your sleep. By applying the strategies I've given you: smart hydration, reduced salt intake, leg positioning, and regularity, you help your body rediscover its natural circadian rhythm. And believe me, this rhythm is your best ally. When it's respected, your brain once again secretes the right hormones at the right time: vasopressin, melatonin, and GH. And together, they orchestrate the grand symphony of nighttime regeneration. That's where everything happens. Your immune system strengthens, your heart rests, and your brain cleanses itself. But before you get there, you first need to repair your sleep. And for that, there's a method that few people know about: a very simple evening routine, validated by several studies, that allows you to restore deep sleep cycles even after years of nighttime awakenings. Next, I'll show you how to create this routine step by step. How to prepare your body and mind for continuous, deep, and restorative sleep, without medication, without supplements, just with science and a little discipline. Get ready, because it's often at this point that my patients tell me, "Doctor, for the first time in months, I slept straight through the night." And that's exactly what I want for you. Now let's get down to specifics. Here's how. Every evening, you can prepare your body to rediscover deep and uninterrupted sleep, even if you've been waking up several times a night for years. This routine requires no medication, no gadgets, and no expensive supplements. Just a few adjustments consistent with your body's biology. It all starts 2 hours before bedtime. This is the famous sacred zone I told you about. During these 2 hours, you will create the ideal conditions for your body to slowly switch to recovery mode. No drinks, or just a few sips if your throat is dry. But above all, no bright screens. The blue light from phones and tablets blocks the secretion of melatonin, the sleep hormone. And without melatonin, your brain stays in wake mode. Then dedicate 10 to 15 minutes to a calm activity. Gentle posture, slow breathing, light stretching. Why? Because these practices activate your parasympathetic system, the body's natural brake, lowers tension, slows the heart rate, and prepares the kidneys to reduce urinary filtration. In other words, your body receives the signal. It's time to sleep. Then, before going to bed, do what I call gentle drainage. Lie down on the sofa, slightly elevate your legs with 2 pillows. Stay like that for 20 to 30 minutes. This simple action promotes venous and lymphatic return. It's like telling your body, eliminate now, not tonight. Studies show that moderately elevating the legs before bed can reduce the frequency of nighttime urination by nearly 25% in just 2 weeks. If you tend to have swollen ankles or heavy legs, you can complement this step with a gentle self-massage from the calves towards the thighs. Use your palms to move the lymph and fluids upwards. It's simple, relaxing, and incredibly effective. Then, move on to the thermal phase. Body temperature directly influences your ability to fall asleep. Take a lukewarm shower, neither too hot nor too cold. The goal is to create a slight cooling of the body after getting out of the shower, which naturally promotes melatonin secretion and muscle relaxation. Avoid very hot baths. They stimulate circulation and can increase urine production. And then there's one last ritual, the one I call the closing signal. It's a simple but powerful gesture. Before turning off the light, place one hand on your lower abdomen. Breathe slowly and deeply 3 times. This contact calms the autonomic nervous system and strengthens the feeling of inner security. It's your signal, the one that says, I'm ready to sleep. These evening routines are not just symbolic. They are based on chronobiology, the science of internal rhythms. A study published in 2022 Inches, the Journal of Sleep Medicine, showed that people following a fixed routine of relaxation and physical preparation before sleep improved the continuity of their nocturnal cycles by an average of 37%. And when deep sleep increases, everything else falls into place. Hormones, memory, immune system, mood. But be careful. Don't expect perfection from the first night. The body needs a few days to understand the new rhythm. What I advise my patients is to apply this routine for 10 consecutive days, to observe, to listen. And often, from the first week, the change is noticeable. Fewer awakenings, more energy in the morning, a more rested face. You'll see, the real miracle isn't just sleeping through the night. It's waking up in the morning without that mental heaviness, with the feeling of having truly recovered. And yet, despite all this, there is still one essential point. Because, even with a good routine and controlled hydration, some people continue to wake up at night, and the reason is neither the bladder, nor age, nor caffeine. It's something more subtle, the link between your nervous system, your stress, and your sleep. Next, I'm going to explain how chronic stress directly disrupts your urine production at night, and how to calm this mechanism naturally without anxiolytics, without artificial melatonin, just by acting on your nervous system. This is the key that many ignore, and which makes all the difference between a simple improvement and a real transformation of sleep. Let's now talk about a silent but incredibly powerful player: stress. It is perhaps the most frequent hidden cause of nocturia, and yet the least recognized. You're about to understand why your mind can literally wake your bladder in the middle of the night even when your body wants to sleep. When you're under stress, worries, mental overload, anxiety, accumulated fatigue, your sympathetic nervous system remains on high alert. It's the fight or flight mode. Your heart beats a little faster, your breathing becomes shallower, and your body releases cortisol and adrenaline. The problem is, these hormones don't just stimulate your brain. They also affect the kidneys. They increase renal blood flow, and therefore urine production. In other words, the more stressed you are, the more your body starts to empty, without any urgent biological reason. This phenomenon has been documented for several years. A study from Osaka University, conducted on more than 1,800 adults, showed that the perceived stress level was the factor most strongly correlated with the frequency of nighttime urination, regardless of age, sex, or eating habits. And yet, few doctors talk about it. You should know that the bladder is directly connected to your brain, the autonomic nervous system. It reacts to emotions. In some people, anxiety triggers involuntary contractions of the bladder muscle, like a kind of emotional overflow that the body tries to release. You're not thirsty. You haven't drunk anything, but your body is trying to relieve itself. So, how do you break this cycle? How do you calm this nighttime stress that sabotages your sleep and your balance? First, you need to retrain your nervous system to calm down before night. The simplest way is coherent breathing. It's a method validated by dozens of studies for regulating the autonomic nervous system. Sit down, close your eyes, and inhale slowly for 5 seconds. Then, exhale for 5 seconds. Do this for 5 minutes, once you're settled in bed. This regular rhythm creates a synchronization between your heart and your brain. It activates the vagus nerve, that direct pathway to calm, the one that slows the heart rate, soothes the kidneys, and relaxes the bladder. Next, add a second ritual: body grounding. It's simple, but incredibly effective. Before sleeping, focus your attention on 3 points of your body: your breath, your belly, and the warmth of your hands. Simply feel what is there. Why? Because it distracts your brain from the thoughts that are looping endlessly. And every time your mind calms down, your nervous system relaxes, and your urine production decreases. An American study published in Frontiers in Neuroscience in 2021 observed an average reduction of 32% in the frequency of nighttime urination after 15 days of daily practice of coherent breathing. Yes, you read that right. Without medication, without supplements, just by breathing better. But for this to truly work, you also need to reprogram your brain to no longer dread waking up at night. Because the more you dread getting up, the more internal tension you create, and the more your nervous system triggers your bladder. It's a vicious psychological cycle. I often recommend that my patients use a self-soothing phrase, a simple mantra to repeat before going to sleep. Something like, "My body knows how to sleep. It knows how to regulate itself. I can trust it." You wouldn't believe how much these words, repeated every evening, can condition your subconscious to release the fear of waking up. And if you want to go even further, practice what I call the vagal walk. 15 minutes of slow walking at the end of the day without your phone, just to de-stress from the day. This simple habit lowers your cortisol, regulates your nervous system, and naturally prepares the ground for a peaceful night's sleep. You see, the secret isn't to force your body to sleep. It's to bring it back into its natural balance. Because a body at peace sleeps effortlessly, and a relaxed bladder no longer tries to make its presence known in the middle of the night. But there's one last piece of the puzzle. Because if your sleep improves and your nighttime awakenings decrease, you also need to protect your health in the long term. And that's where what we call metabolic prevention comes in. Next, I'm going to show you how nocturia can be an early indicator of your biological age, and how, by correcting this simple symptom, you can slow down cellular aging. You're going to discover the direct link between your sleep, your metabolism, and your longevity. And I promise you, this part will surprise you. We're now going to delve into the most fascinating, and often most neglected, dimension of this topic: the link between nocturia, your metabolism, and your biological age. Because yes, this seemingly trivial symptom Getting up at night to urinate can be an early indicator of cellular aging. And even better, correcting it can literally slow down the aging of your body. You might be wondering what the connection is between your sleep, your bladder, and your cells. In reality, everything is connected. Your body is an incredibly precise biological clock. Every organ, every hormone, every enzyme functions according to a circadian rhythm. When this rhythm is disrupted by stress, lack of deep sleep, or repeated nighttime awakenings, your entire metabolism becomes unbalanced. And that's where nocturia becomes more than just a simple inconvenience. It's a marker of an internal imbalance. Because every time your sleep is interrupted, your brain and your cells lack recovery time. You produce less melatonin, the sleep hormone, but also a major antioxidant that neutralizes free radicals. And you secrete more cortisol, the stress hormone, which accelerates cellular degradation. A Finnish study conducted on more than 2,500 adults showed that people suffering from frequent nighttime awakenings had shorter telomeres. These small DNA caps that protect your chromosomes show the equivalent of 6 to 7 years of additional biological aging. In other words, losing sleep is losing years of your life. But the good news is that the body has an extraordinary capacity for regeneration, provided you restore its proper rhythms. And that's exactly what you do when you correct nocturia. You're not just treating a symptom, you're realigning your internal clock. Look, during deep sleep, your body triggers several essential processes. The liver detoxifies your blood. The kidneys filter more slowly, so as not to overload the bladder. The brain activates the glymphatic system, a neuronal cleaning network that eliminates the proteins responsible for cognitive decline. And your heart slows down, saving up to 20% of its energy expenditure. But as soon as you wake up to urinate, this whole process is interrupted. Your heart speeds up, your blood pressure rises, and your brain is abruptly pulled out of the regeneration phase. It's like unplugging a machine in the middle of a repair cycle. Result: you wake up more tired, more irritable, and more vulnerable. And in the long term, this lack of sleep regularity affects your metabolic balance. Blood sugar levels rise, appetite becomes dysregulated, and weight gain occurs more easily. This was confirmed by a Harvard study in 2023. People sleeping less than 6 hours uninterrupted had a 45% increased risk of metabolic syndrome, even with a proper diet. That's why I often tell my patients, the best anti-aging remedy isn't a cream, it's a full night's sleep. And what's fascinating is that the positive effects of regulating sleep are seen very quickly. After a few weeks, your skin regenerates faster, your memory improves, your concentration returns, and your mood stabilizes. And inside, your heart, your liver, your brain, your kidneys, everything starts functioning in rhythm again. But there's an even deeper secret. Nighttime melatonin, that sleep hormone I told you about, also acts as a shield against cellular aging. And for it to be produced correctly, your sleep must be continuous, not fragmented, not interrupted. Each abrupt awakening blocks it, sometimes for several hours. So imagine, by relearning to sleep in one go, you're not just avoiding trips to the bathroom, you're reactivating your natural antioxidant shield, reducing internal inflammation, and restoring your body's true potential for longevity. And this isn't just a theory. A study published in Nature Aging showed that people who slept uninterruptedly between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. had inflammatory markers twice as low as those whose sleep was fragmented. Less inflammation means fewer chronic diseases, less pain, and a longer life expectancy. You see, nocturia isn't just about your bladder. It's a message your body is sending you to say, I'm losing my rhythm, help me find it again. And that's exactly what we've been doing together from the beginning. Rehydrating intelligently, adjusting salt intake, calming stress, restoring breathing, synchronizing your internal clock. You're realigning your body with the biology of health. But there's one last key, the one that bridges the gap between body and mind, between biology and consciousness, the waking ritual. Because everything you do in the morning determines the quality of your following night's sleep. And that's what I'm going to reveal to you now. How to wake up, move, and expose yourself to daylight to naturally reprogram your sleep-wake cycle. And finally get full, restful nights of sleep for good. So, let's talk about this often overlooked, yet crucial moment. The morning. Because the quality of your sleep isn't just determined at night. It begins. As soon as you wake up. Every morning, you have the power to reprogram your internal clock for the entire day. And if you do it correctly, your body will know, when evening comes, that it's time to rest. One of the most powerful levers for this rebalancing is natural light. Your brain, and more precisely your hypothalamus, houses what is called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the conductor of your circadian rhythm. It synchronizes with light. From the first few minutes after waking up, expose your eyes to daylight, without sunglasses if possible. Go out onto your balcony, open the window, take a few steps outside. This morning exposure triggers the release of healthy cortisol, the morning cortisol, which gives you your energy boost and resets the countdown for your melatonin production for the following night. Yes, evening melatonin production begins. In the morning. A study from Stanford University has shown. Studies show that just 10 minutes of exposure to natural light in the first hour after waking up increases the quality of nighttime sleep by an average of 40%. So make it a non-negotiable habit. You don't need bright sunshine. Even diffused light on a cloudy day is enough. Then, the second pillar of the morning is movement. No need to run a marathon. Just gently wake up your body. A few stretches, a little walking, a few deep breaths are enough to stimulate lymphatic circulation and boost your metabolism. Morning movement sends the signal to the brain. The day is beginning. And this signal is essential so that, 14 to 16 hours later, your brain understands it's time to sleep. This link between daytime activity and nighttime rest is, moreover, one of the secrets of populations with a long life expectancy. In the blue zones, those regions of the world where people often live to be over 100 years old, people move from the morning, at low intensity, but regularly. No intense sports sessions, just continuous movement, consistent, with the body's rhythm. Third pillar, morning nutrition. Breakfast plays a key role in stabilizing your blood sugar and avoiding insulin spikes that disrupt your energy. And later, your sleep. Opt for a combination of protein, fiber, and healthy fats. For example, eggs, oatmeal, a whole fruit, a few nuts. Avoid fast-acting sugar first thing in the morning, because a sugar spike in the morning leads to a sharp drop around midday, metabolic stress, and the production of adrenaline which, at the end of the day, prevents the relaxation necessary for falling asleep. And then there's a fourth pillar, less well-known but fundamental, emotional coherence. First thing in the morning, take a few seconds to center yourself. Even before your coffee, before your phone, breathe deeply. Ask yourself, how do I want to feel today? It's not insignificant. Morning emotions define the chemistry of your day. A positive thought or sincere gratitude triggers the release of oxytocin and serotonin, hormones that soothe your nervous system. And a soothed nervous system simply sleeps better. Finally, the fifth pillar, regularity. Try, as much as possible, to wake up at the same time, even on weekends. The brain loves fixed schedules. It thus synchronizes hormonal cycles, particularly vasopressin, the anti-diuretic hormone that prevents the bladder from filling up at night. That's why people with a stable routine sleep better, age more slowly, and wake up more alert. If you apply these principles: light, movement, nutrition, emotion, regularity, you send your body a clear message every morning. This is the day. Prepare for the coming night. And day after day, your sleep strengthens, your metabolism rebalances, your hormonal system stabilizes, you sleep soundly, your heart rests, your brain recovers. It's a virtuous cycle, the cycle of natural longevity. But now that you know all these levers, there's one last step, the most important one, the one that transforms knowledge into real transformation, commitment. Because it's not enough to understand, you have to act. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about now. How to transform these tips into a sustainable, simple, but powerful routine, so that in 30 days, you too can say, I'm finally sleeping through the night. So listen carefully, because this is where it all comes together. What you've discovered so far, intelligent hydration, salt management, the evening routine, stress management, the role of metabolism, and light, these aren't just tricks. It's a complete biological program, a natural protocol that helps your body realign with what it already knows how to do. Sleep deeply, regenerate, and repair itself. But the real transformation begins when you decide to act. You don't need to change everything at once. Start with one step, just one. Maybe it's evening breathing exercises. Maybe it's getting some morning light. Or simply the famous 2-hour sacred zone without drinks. What matters is consistency, not perfection. Because your body loves consistency. Do it every day, a little at a time, and observe. Change isn't measured only in the number of nighttime awakenings, but in the clarity of your mind, the stability of your mood, and that feeling of renewed energy upon waking. You'll see. Your body will get the message. It will recalibrate. And as the days go by, nighttime awakenings will decrease, your sleep will deepen, and you'll wake up with that feeling you had forgotten, being truly rested. It's often at this point that my patients tell me, Doctor, I didn't think it was still possible to sleep like I used to. And that's when everything changes. Because sleeping through the night without interruption isn't just about comfort. It's a sign of biological youth. It's your body telling you, I'm repairing myself. I'm protecting myself. I'm regenerating. So today, make yourself this promise. Don't let nocturia control your nights anymore. Make your sleep a priority. Because every full night's sleep is a silent victory over aging, fatigue, and stress. And you deserve it. I want you to remember this sentence. A well-hydrated, well-rested, and calm body doesn't wake up to urinate. It sleeps to rebuild itself. And now, tell me in the comments, how many times do you wake up at night? And which strategy will you try first? I personally read every message because it's thanks to you, to your feedback, that I can improve these videos and help you even more. If this video helped you better understand your body, subscribe to the Next Age Health channel. Every week, I share the science of healthy aging with you. Simple, practical, research-backed tips so you can stay strong, sharp, and full of energy at any age. And if you want to go further, download the Smart Hydration Guide on our website. There you'll discover how to balance your fluid intake, blood pressure, and sleep naturally and sustainably. Because aging isn't about decline. It's about learning to listen to your body, understanding its signals, and giving it what it needs to stay young from the inside out. I'm Dr. Hillman, and I promise you, if you listen to your body, it will reward you with restful nights, clear days, and lasting health. Take care of yourself, and see you soon in a new Next Age Health video.